Hi everybody, this is Sarah's Toy again, and today I'm going to demonstrate to you guys on how to deal with fractions. I admit that dealing with fractions is not an easy task to do unless you know all the basics. That's why I made an introduction before I formally start my tutorial. So, so if you remember, there are 5 kinds of fractions, and one of it is the similar fractions. So adding and subtracting similar fractions is very straightforward, guys. So for example, let's say our teacher asked us to solve 1/2 plus 1/2. So if you deal with fractions that are similar, the process is so straightforward. All you have to do is just copy the denominator, and in this case it's 2, and just perform the necessary operation, which is the addition for the numerator, as you usually do when you deal with whole numbers. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Now the question is our answer final? Please pause the video and see if we can arrive at the same answer. No, unfortunately, our answer in this stage is not final yet, and most of the time, if you don't reduce your fractions to its lowest term, our teacher, I'm afraid, will mark it as wrong. So it's very important to take note that if you can still simplify the fraction, then please do so. And of course, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 is our final answer. So let's try another one. Let's say 4/2 plus 10/2. Again, just copy the denominator, then add the numerator. So 4 plus 10 is 14. And you got it right. Our answer isn't in the simplest form yet, so we have to simplify it. So 14 divided by 2 is 7. So if you encounter a fraction like this where each one of it can still be reduced on its own, then you can do this process as well. And it's up to you guys which algorithm would you like to do. Again, math is an art, and there's no definite solution on how to arrive for the correct answer. So what you're going to do is simplify each of the fractions, which is 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now, just add them all together. So 2 plus 5 is 7. And if you notice, we still arrive at the same final answer. So let's try another one. One and 1/2 plus 2. Okay, no, not 2/2. Okay, sometimes we are asked to solve a fractions where one of them is a mixed number and the other is either an improper or proper. And as you notice, this one here, is a mixed number, considering that you see a whole number and a fraction added together, which is 1 and 1/2. And this one over here is an improper fraction. It's because the numerator is, of course, bigger than its denominator. So how do you deal fractions like that? So actually what I do on this one is turn this mixed number into a fraction. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So this would be 3/2 plus 5/2. And again, just do the process of adding similar fractions by copying the denominator and adding the numerator. So 3 plus 5 is 8. And of course, we can still reduce this one into 4. It's because 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now, let's see a 1 and 1/2 plus 5 2. Okay, so what you're gonna do now, it's because this part here is, okay, 1/2 and 5 2 are already similar. So what I'm gonna do is just disregard the whole number in the first fraction. So it would be like this. So 2 plus, okay, just copy the denominator, which is 2, then add the numerator, which is 1 plus 5 equals 6. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. And again, remember we have still 1 here that we disregarded. So all you have to do is add that to our initial number. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And see that we still arrive at the same number, which is 4 in this case. Dissimilar fractions. If you remember, guys, dissimilar fractions are fractions with different denominators. So for example, we were asked to solve 5 over 6 plus, let's say, 4 over 3. Now, unlike similar fractions, we cannot just add the denominator. Let's say 6 plus 3 equals 9. That is wrong. So most of the time I see kids that do it like this. 5 plus 4 equals 9, and 6 plus 3 equals 9, which is 1. And again, that is wrong. The right process to do that is by doing this first step first. Let's say again 5 over 6 plus 10 over 5. The first thing that you need to do is find its least common multiple. Yes, find its least common multiple, or LCM for short. So now to find that, sometimes 6 and 5, what I do if there's small number, if it involves only small number, all you have to do is just multiply 6 and 5. So 6 times 5 equals 30. And now, the next question, can we add the numerators already? No, it's not. Because our main focus here or goal here is on how to convert 5, 6, and 10, 5 into similar fractions. So in order for us to do that, again, we have to find its least common multiple. So the next step that you need to do is do this process. 30, once you already find the least common multiple, you have to divide it by each of the fractions denominator and multiply it by its numerator, and you have to do that for each of the fractions. So 30 divided by 6 is 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. And do the same process for the second fraction. So 30 divided by 5 is 6, times 10 is 60. Now 25 plus 60, so I don't have a calculator for me, guys, so I'm gonna do it here. 85 over 30. And of course, the next question that I always ask, is your answer final? Okay, please pause the video and see if you can arrive at the same answer. You know, 85 and 30 can still be reduced to its lowest term. How do we do that? We have to find its greatest common factor, or GCF. And before I forget, everybody, I have a separate video on how to find the least common multiple and the greatest common factor, please feel free to check the link in the comment of this tutorial. So 85 divided by 5. Okay, let's try 5 because 85 and 30 ends either 5 or 0, and if it ends those number, then it can be divided by 5. So 85 divided by 5, and again, add a calculator with me. Um, 17. And 30 divided by 5 is 6. Now the question again, is your answer final? No, it's not. The reason it's because our answer is in improper form. And again, if it's an improper fraction where the numerator is bigger than its denominator, we have to perform the necessary division. So 17 divided by 6 is 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 7 minus 2 is 5. This is our final answer, guys. 2 and 5 over 6. And again, they will check your answer all the time. So in order for us to do that, all you have to do is multiply the denominator by its whole number. So 6 times 2 is equals to 12. And 12 and add it to its numerator. So 12 plus 5 is equals to 17. So we always revert to our original improper answer. So now I'm back. So this time we're going to multiply fractions, like different kinds of fractions, and how do we deal with it. So unlike with fractions with dissimilar denominator, where we have to find its least common multiple, we don't have to do that anymore for multiplication of fractions. So for example, we have 1/2 times 5/3. Then the process is so very straightforward. All you have to do is multiply the numerator and the denominator one by one. So 1 times 5 equals to 5, and 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Now you ask yourself if this answer is final. Well, there's no common factor for 5 and 6, therefore it's our final answer. So let's try another one. Let's say 10 over 2 times 18 over 9 equals to what? Well, at first it's kind of intimidating looking how a little bit bigger the number is. So in this case, guys, if you see that each fraction can still be reduced in its own, then please do so because it will make your life so much easier. So in this case, 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then 18 divided by 9 is 2. Then just multiply the number. So 5 times 2 is equals to 10. Then that is our final answer. So let's try another example. 10 over 3 times 6 over 2. Well, for 10 over 3 or for the first fraction, we cannot divide it without a remainder. So let's keep it as it is. So, however, we can do so for 6 and 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. Remember, guys, if it's a whole number, it's understood that its denominator is 1. Then we can do this in two ways. So 10 times 3 is 30. And 3 times 1 is 3. And 30 divided by 3 is 10. So 10 is our final answer. Divided by 3 is 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 2 times 5 is equals to 10. See, we still arrive at the same answer. So it's up to you again, everyone, on which method or algorithm you're going to use in dealing with multiplication of fractions. As I have mentioned before, there's no single definite solution on how to arrive for the correct answer. After all, mathematics is an art. Okay, so let's try this one. Let's try multiplying mixed numbers. So 1 and 1/3 times 2 and 3/5, for example. Okay, this is how I do it. It's kind of intimidating again, considering how do we do that. So for me, what I'm going to do is turn each of these fractions into its improper form. And again, in order for you to do that, you have to do these steps. So the 3 times 1 is 3, and plus 1 is 4. So 1 and 1/3 is equivalent to 4 over 3. And 2 and 3/5 is equivalent to 5 times 2 is equals to 10, plus 3 is 13, 13 over 5. But now let's check each number if we can multiply, if we can reduce it to its simplest form. So there's no GCF for 4 and 5, so it's 13 over 3. So we don't have choice but to proceed with the multiplication process. So 4 times 13 equals to 52, and 3 times 5 is 15. And I don't think we can still find a common factor between 52 and 15, because 52 cannot be divided by 5 nor 3. Okay, so since this is an improper fraction due to the fact that the numerator is greater than its denominator, we have to turn this into a mixed number. So 52 divided by 15 is 3, and 15 times 3 is 45. 52 minus 45 is equals to 7. So 52 over 15 is equivalent to 3 and 7 over 15. 15 times 3 plus 7 is equals to 50. See guys, I still forget sometimes on how to do it. But remember this one. Remember this was 15 here, so that would still be your denominator. And the quotient will be your whole number. And the remainder would be your numerator. So that's how you do it. Alright, so let's proceed with division of fractions. The division of fraction is somewhat similar to multiplication. And anyway, division is just an inverse process of multiplication, right? So but in this case, there's a little bit of difference. So let's say 1/5 divided by 2/3. Well, unfortunately, we cannot just, let's say, 1 divided by 2 and over 5 divided by 3. This is not how we do it in dealing with division of fractions. The first thing that you need to do is just bring down 1/5. Then you change the division into multiplication. And then you flip this number here. So that the denominator becomes the numerator and the numerator becomes the denominator. Then after that, you're good to go. Just multiply the numerator and the denominator one at a time. So 1 times 3 is equals to 3, and 5 times 2 is equals to 10. And since we cannot divide this anymore and it's a proper fraction, then we're good, and we are sure that our answer is in its final form. So let's try another one. Let's make it more complicated. So let's say 2 over 10 divided by 2 over 4. So let's do what we did a while ago. So bring down 2 over 10, change the division into multiplication, and flip the 2 over 4. So 4, it will be 4 divided by 2. And again, since you can still further subdivide this or further reduce each of the fraction, so either you do this and you do that. So for me this time, I will do the cross multiplication process because it's easier. And you know, this 2 here will cancel out the 2 here because they're the same. And 10 and 4 can be divided by 2, which is their greatest common factor. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, sorry. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this one is 1. So 1 times 2 is equals to 2, and 5 times 1 equals to 5. The answer is 5. Now what if we do it in a long way? So let's see if we still arrive at the same answer. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 times 2 is 20. And again, 8 and 20 has a greatest common factor of 2. Oh, no, it's 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5. See, it's up to you guys in which process do you prefer, and multiply on reducing the fractions to its lowest term. And even then, our answer is still the same, and therefore we are good. And that's a good way also to double check your answer. And okay, so let's try another one. One more example. Let's say 3 and 2/5 divided by 1 and 1/4. Okay, so all we have to do again is just make this fraction into its improper form. So 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2 equals 17. So 17/5 divided by 4 times 1 equals 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's 5/4. And then 17/5. Change this division into multiplication. So that's then flip the 5/4. So this becomes 4/5. And I don't see any common factor between the number here, and you cannot divide each of them into its lowest form. Then we're good to multiply the numbers now. So for 17 times 4 is equals to 68. Then 5 times 5 is 25. Again, notice that the numerator is bigger than the denominator, then therefore we need to reduce this into its lowest lowest form by turning it into an improper fraction. So 68 divided by 25 is 2. And we know if we're doing this, just copy the denominator. So 2 times 25 is 50, and now we need 18 more to make it 68. So this will be 18. Now let's double check. 25 times 2 plus 18, and that's 68. Therefore, this is our final answer. So thank you so much for bearing with my long tutorial, but I really hope that you learned something from it, and hopefully you'll be able to use that in your math class someday. Bye-bye.